All right, welcome back, everyone, to the Fantasy Football Profit Podcast. And today we're going to talk about studs and duds draft strategy for auction drafts. And how we're going to do that is we just got done doing a few mocks. We went to Fantasy Pros. They have their auction draft wizard, which is really cool. It goes really quick, and you can just kind of build out teams and see how it plays out. So what we did today was we wanted to try out the studs and duds approach. What kind of team could you build by spending your money early on big time guys? And then, how's it going to play out? So we went and did 3 drafts, and I feel like it worked pretty well, actually. I know you might see some of the prices or see some of the things and think, this doesn't seem realistic, but I mean, maybe not. Every auction's different. You never know how it's going to play out. And it's more about, I think, just getting like the feel for how a team, like what happens later in the draft, middle of the draft, and all that stuff. So we did 12 teams. Quarterback, 2 running backs, 3 receivers, tight end, flex, defense, some bench. Our first one, we'll bring it up. First draft, Jeff, we wanted to go, all right, we're going to get Christian McCaffrey, whatever his price is, we will go for it. I don't have all the prices down here, but that's fine. He went for about $63, I think. And we said, yep, do that all day. Next up, Jahmyr Gibbs, we got for pretty cheap, $33 or so. That was surprising. I don't know. Again, that's how it falls in the draft, though. He was nominated very early. And so the time he was nominated, you got to think about it, ahead of him was still Bijan and Breece Hall and Saquon, maybe, depending where you rank them, and other guys where even in a draft wizard, I think it kind of gets the feel that, there's other guys left, right? And he doesn't go for as high of a price. So we got to steal on Gibbs. We also went big on Jamar Chase and Amon-Ra St. Brown. So spent big on 4 guys. And that was pretty much it. The rest you had to fill in. Our third receiver was Rashee Rice. Hey, as long as he's not suspended, I think that's good. And we got him for single digits. Our quarterbacks ended up being Kirk Cousins, Trevor Lawrence, and actually Matt Stafford. We have 3 of them on this team, but when you go that cheap, hey, why not? See what happens. And then I think the key here too is we went Tony Pollard, Tyjae Spears. We got both of them as that's our third, fourth running back because we don't have much else, to be honest. Hoping to get one. How do you feel about that one? I think it gave us an A+ score actually for that draft.
Yeah, I like the way it turned out. I think, well, you already know that you're going to have some really high quality players, right? You start off with McCaffrey, and then we have, Gibbs, which I do think that changed the whole dynamic. Where
the cheap price on Gibbs.
Yeah, a little bit cheaper. Depending on where you're drafting, like I feel like on ESPN it's probably more like he's going for 40 rather than low 30s, right? But I've seen him all over the board.
Yep.
But he does have that high upside, which I really really like. That is the one that would change the most. But as far as QB, we realized if you're doing this, you probably can't get a really high end guy, so you're going to have to fall in love with someone on the lower end.
You're getting the lower end. So like that one I said, we got Cousins and Stafford and whatever. We actually we autoed like the end of it just because there's so many. We had no money left.
That's how
right?
we got like that.
And so even the second one, it was still Aaron Rodgers, Tua, and Justin Herbert. And Herbert's going for cheap. Herbert's a great option if you're going cheap. If you're going like studs and duds, spending your money on running backs and receivers, Herbert's a good one to get for that. The second one, we got Saquon and Bijan, St. Brown again, CeeDee Lamb. Ridley was our third. We don't really have other running backs. That's where we're kind of really struggling. And that's what happens is your bench is really weak. We never got a good tight end in any of these. K-Dot in Tyler Conklin, Cole Kmet. We're always way down on tight ends. We're down on quarterbacks, right? And no bench. But our studs are so good that it's like if you feel confident about how you do in waiver wire, it can work. The second one we did only got a B. That was our worst, but a B is still not a bad grade. And then our last one we did got an A-. That was Aaron Rodgers, Christian McCaffrey. That was where we did a little different. We decided the other ones we went 2 and 2, like 2 running backs, 2 receivers. We went 1 big running back and 3. We wanted to go more receiver heavy. We didn't even have to go that heavy, but we went McCaffrey. Raheem Mostert ends up as our second running back, which we'll see.
We got him at the end of
we'll see.
Yeah, you have to fill in. I think that is a great upside guy.
Yep. We're going to be weak at running back too, but then we got CeeDee Lamb, Justin Jefferson, Stephon Diggs, and then our backup quarterback, that one was only Baker Mayfield. Again, no bench, really, but we got some really good studs on this team, and it gave us an A-, 90 out of 100. So I would say the biggest thing I saw, though, in this was the middle of the draft, the players just go for more money.
Yeah,
I think that's a big key to see. Again, the middle of the draft, they go for too much. If you're aggressive early, you can get some good deals. If we had really spend our time at the end of this draft. We probably could get some more guys we really like, prospect wise, maybe. I don't know. I think studs and duds is a way to win. Maybe I wouldn't go as heavy. Maybe I don't go all the way like we did with like 4 guys, but I don't know. I think you go a couple really good guys. I think you can fill in the rest. I really like this. I like this. I kind of like the approach of just getting, I think you need the stars. I really do. I think you need stars and you can fill in the rest. That's just where I'm at with it. I think this is the way you can really win.
Yeah, I really did like it. I think the interesting one is I think this, I think it helps too. I think you can pick out like 2 guys that you really, really want, but I think you have to be a little flexible on the other 2 because whatever comes to us, like when Jahmyr Gibbs was cheap, we took him. When Jefferson and Amon-Ra St. Brown wasn't overly expensive either, but Jefferson, him, and Diggs all came for undervalue at one point. And we're kind of like, I know that we have our gripes with a few things, but I'll take the extra $10 off and go for it. So that would be the one takeaway. It was kind of like I can pick and choose the top guys. And then after that, I have to be a little less picky because otherwise I would change it to more of a balanced approach after that.
And if you follow our nomination episode, we said like you go aggressive early, nominate the guys you want. We did that. But then after that, you go and just nominate money. And that's what we did. We got money off the board for a long time there. And then would pick our spots when we saw somebody that the value was there. Yeah,
and we'll find out more because we're going to do more of these mock drafts in order to figure out what kind of strategy we like this year in 2024. But the question I have for you, Craig, is after we've done the studs and duds, the one thing I did notice, the mid round and even mid to even, it began in the late rounds too. The running back was still going for so much more that I'm wondering if it is even going to be worth like going for that balanced approach because you're probably overpaying for every running back after like the top 10.
I don't think I'm going to like that.
Yeah, we'll find out.
Those middle guys went for too much money, in my opinion, and I think they're just mediocre. You want deals on those kind of guys. If you're going to get those guys, they need to be going for 15, 20 less than what they were I saw in these drafts. But I like it. I really think this is, maybe you don't go all the way with 4 guys, but if you get deals, that's the thing. Every draft's different. You truly don't know. I wouldn't go in handcuffing yourself with exactly how many guys you're going to get, but just see what the prices are going. And you need the star players, though. We all of us think we can find the steals right, and we're going to find the guys that are going to be great value. And a lot of times I think we do pretty well on it, but we're not perfect, and we have misses quite a bit. Like I don't need to go over them, but we have misses every year. We all do. And we all think we're great at finding those values, but in reality, what's our hit rate? What's anybody's hit rate? It's not as high as anyone thinks it is. Yeah. And so the hit rate on the studs is going to be pretty high. McCaffrey's a good player. CeeDee Lamb, St. Brown, Jefferson, all those guys, they're good players.
And I will say the last one, because we're drafting on Fantasy Pros, their value for these guys, especially in the lower end, do tend to be much more realistic, I think. But there is a possibility you might be drafting on Yahoo or ESPN, and you come down here, and when you try to get a Tony Pollard, he actually goes for like $3. That is not what we were saying, but maybe.
Even that, it showed when in the draft they went, right? Like Tyjae Spears, we wanted Spears. In the first draft, we got him for like $4. In another draft, we nominated him a little earlier because we're going to see, and he went for like 13. Yeah, it's still again where they go when they're nominated,
without a doubt. And Zamir White was another one that went for like
$20 some dollars. Yeah.
So it turns into like if you're looking at the ESPN like live draft numbers and you're trying to compare the two, it does become a little difficult. So I do highly recommend that you obviously draft, mock draft yourself, and you go on ESPN and do whatever platform you're going to use, because you don't want to get on here thinking you're going to get Zamir White for $10 because you value, and then all of a sudden he's 20 something and it throws the whole thing off.
So I don't know. I think it's a good approach. I think you can really, especially if you really dig in, you could really get your prospects you want, the potential steals on top. I think it's a way to do it.
It sounds funny, but I think that is the safer route this year.
Yeah. So
to spend all your money on 4 guys, but it sounds.
I like it so far. Obviously it's the first one we've done, but I'm gonna have a hard time.
Every year how many have we done in our lifetime?
I'm gonna have a hard time finding a way to top it. So all right, there we go. There's the studs and duds auction draft strategy. To stay tuned as we're gonna keep trying out more. Talk to you guys next time.